Hey everyone, Dr. Michael Breus, the sleep doctor here. Every night when my wife and I go to bed, our two Frenchies are not far behind. But after several years of pets in our bed, I've learned a few things along the way. So let's talk about some of my favorite tips for getting your best sleep with your best friend. Did you know that there are actually some real psychological and physical benefits for sleeping with your pet? First of all, they can actually offer some levels of mental health support. Studies have shown that sleeping with a pet can increase oxytocin levels. Remember, that's the love hormone. And another study found that it reduced cortisol levels in children. Remember, cortisol is that fight or flight hormone that we really want lower at night. Another thing that they do, they offer comfort and security. Another study found that dogs provided support for people who suffer from PTSD, while another study of veterans with PTSD reported that 57% had a reduction in nightmares because of the presence of their dog. I want to break for a second and tell you about a patient that I had that was really, really interesting. She had PTSD. Somebody had broken into her home, what's called a home invasion. She was very fearful of being able to fall asleep at night. So we talked about it and she was able to rescue a dog, believe it or not, German Shepherd. And once she had the dog around, she had almost no fear and was able to fall asleep very, very well. We actually took her off of all of her supplementation, off of all of her medication, and she was good to go. So there's a lot of benefit sometimes to having an animal nearby. Another area where pets can be really beneficial is to your immune health. You might not be aware of this, but just the sheer presence of pets in your house changes the bacterial makeup of your home. We know that the more microorganisms that we're exposed to, especially as kids, the stronger our immune system tends to be. Another big area is physical health. We know that owning pets can have significant physical impacts too, because our emotional well-being is intimately tied to our physical health. Sleeping with pets has been shown to help reduce blood pressure, our heart rates, even decreasing cholesterol and triglycerides. However, the research on this topic is still a little early on, so do me a favor and listen with caution. First of all, before you assume that you have to sleep with your pet because your pet wants to, you don't. You can actually kick those pets right out of the bedroom. I know plenty of people will insist that their pets want to sleep with them, but if your sleep quality is suffering, then you have my permission to get them out of the bedroom. But if you do decide to sleep with your pet, here are a few tips. Number one, make enough space. So I'm gonna tell you a funny story. I love going to PetSmart with my dogs because they get to go and pick out toys and all this kind of fun stuff. And I turn the corner and all of a sudden there's this very large guy, like I think he was like maybe 6'4", he was like 300 pounds, and he had this huge Great Dane. So I grew up with Great Danes, I loved it, came over, started talking to him, and then his wife comes around the corner. She wasn't particularly small either, with their second Great Dane. And it happened to come up that I was a sleep specialist, and they said, oh, we could really use your help. And I said, well, what's going on? And they said, we sleep with both of our dogs. If you've ever seen a Great Dane, they are quite large animals, usually about maybe 3 or 4 feet when they're on all fours, 6 or 7 feet on two. So they had one Great Dane on one side, dad, another Great Dane, mom, and then believe it or not, their kid was sleeping across the foot of the bed, and they had a queen size bed. So I'm here to tell you that the first thing you need to evaluate is the size of your bed. It goes without saying, but you want to be able to fit on the bed. Depending upon your size and the size of your pet, it might be worth investing in a king size mattress. With this couple, we actually used a California king because basically it was 4 adults sleeping in the bed. If your pet does have to go to the bathroom, make sure that they go before the middle of the night. I gotta be honest with you. If you can really make it a routine to start taking them out shortly before bed, it works out so much better. Here's what I do is they know right around 10:30, 11 o'clock, it's time. So I bring them both downstairs and actually I'll sit down on the ground and give them a little love and play with them and then put them out for the evening, let them do their thing and then come back in. It's a nice time for me to actually say goodnight to the boys, but also it kind of slowly settles them down and makes them realize that it's time for bed, not necessarily time to play. Finally, another big thing that's really important is clean your sheets and bedding at least once a week. It's good advice for all people, regardless of whether they have a pet, but especially important if pets sleep with you. Keeps things like allergies, dust, germs at bay. Some people always say, but I've got a hypoallergenic animal. I used to have hypoallergenic animals as well. Newsflash, they go outside and they bring stuff in. So do yourself a favor and make sure that you're washing stuff off. Speaking of germs, our pets are actually still animals, so do yourself a favor and see a vet on a regular basis. This protects your pet, but it can also protect you. And then finally, keep a consistent bedtime routine. I talk about this all the time with how our bodies have circadian rhythms, but remember, pets do too. And pets are also creatures of habit. So going to bed at the same time each night can put you and your pet kind of on the same circadian rhythm. Being in the same circadian rhythm actually can protect you against restless pets at night. Now look, pets aren't the only thing to negotiate in the bedroom. Having a TV could also be good for you. You heard that right, good for you. And for more on why I think it's okay to have a TV in the bedroom, check out my video on that right here. Pets are a great benefit to your overall physical and mental health. Just make sure you're keeping your bedroom clean and giving yourself the best chance to get the best night of sleep. This is Dr. Michael Breus, the Sleep Doctor, wishing you and your pets a great night's sleep.